Hi folks, and welcome to another video. In this video I'm playing the Solomons 1942 by request. I'm just going to play a couple turns, maybe the opening move or so, unless people want to see the continuation of the game itself. I'm playing at experienced and excellent levels. I'm trying to play around with the actual AI levels to see what works well. I found that with Warplan Europe this was actually a good combination. And it was also recommended by Mr. D'Souza. I might up the supply level a little bit depending how things go. So I just want to take a look at the map here if I can. It looks like the Japanese have pushed forward into Guadalcanal, and according to the notes here, I want to be able to get to Rabaul, even though Rabaul was actually avoided or bypassed by the Allies. For this scenario, the maximum move range of naval units is increased to 34. Night movement is 17. Regiments can merge with other regiments to form brigades, or brigades to form divisions. Okay, so Japanese superior force, but very to take advantage. So they seem to have more a superiority. Okay, so I'm gonna have to be careful. It's a beautiful map. I'm going to follow the same sort of route I did with War in the Pacific Admirals Edition here. I'm noticing some ports here that an airfield, so it's almost as if the game is set up in such a way that I can create a sort of defensive line with air units. So I think what I'm going to do is occupy these ports here, and according to the scenario I need to capture Guadalcanal, and I've got another port already here and Port Moresby here, and create a defensive line of air units so that my naval units are safe here, and yet my air units can actually hinder any kind of movement of the Japanese down the island chain there with the Tokyo Express. I believe this was called Iron Bottom Sea because of the amount of naval battles. So I'm expecting a lot of naval battles in this scenario. I haven't played it before. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got here. Well, that's a 1-6, so that's got to be a damaged unit. Yeah, it is, so I'm going to give it a little bit of priority. Let's take a look at Australia here. Only 50 logistics, so Australia is going to be very supportive, it looks like. But it looks like I can build submarines and patrol groups. All the air, all the land, no mech or no marines. What about the US? Looks like they got no mech or armor, and only patrol groups. They got all air and so forth. Okay, good logistics. So most of the manpower is going to come from, and most of the builds are going to come from the US. What do I have for trade? Trade routes? I don't see any. So must be just assigned. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to help Australia out at the beginning to try to strengthen their troops there. I'm going to create the trade. I had 50 merchant marines, so that's 30 plus 10 is 40, so I should be okay. I'm looking right here with the 50. I'm going to keep that 40 first turn, but I'm going to up that for Australia. I have no escorts, and it still shows no routes, which makes sense because I don't see any. Okay, so let's take a look at Australia here. Okay. Let's start off. Always good to pick a section to start off with. I'm going to start off with Port Moresby here. Okay, I'm going to put this guy on hold. put this person on hold. This I'm going to put on naval, even though they're interceptors. I'm going to put this guy on hold, put him on a transport, and I'm going to start the process of occupying those ports to try to create that defensive line that I was talking about. I don't like an open port there. That's another big unit, so I'm going to split that one up. I'm going to go into unit details and split it, and then I'm going to rail this unit up. I can split this one again. This one here is a cruiser, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to board this, but I'm going to keep my cruiser there. And it looks like they're letting me occupy these ports, so I'm catching them by surprise, I guess. And I'm going to break this guy up. Break him up again. And I'm going to transport. And occupy that final island. Hex. Okay, I'm going to be... what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my air units already here. I noticed they're size 10 here. Since this is a port size 1, it'll be able to provide 20 supply points. So the infantry unit will get 10, and I believe the air unit will get 14 there. So one of them is going to be a little bit of short supply, so I might have to move it in and out. I've got all my ports here. I'm going to do a hold just in case the AI decides to get a little aggressive and go after Australia, which I doubt. Put him on hold and throw that unit on hold. Let's look at Naomi. Throw that unit in garrison mode and in hold. And I'm going to throw that unit in garrison mode and hold. I got an air unit here, and it looks like I got PT boats. Let me just check here again. What can America build? So it can only build patrol groups. Okay. I only have one oiler right now, 80 landing ships. So, and Australia doesn't have any shipyards, so they can't even build any landing ships for me. I would take it that this is the invasion force. I'm going to be a little... I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to put this guy on hold and garrison mode. Hold and garrison mode, and that kind of increases my stockpile of production points. Right, garrison mode, hold. It's at 3. I think I'm going to reinforce that one. Give them priority, and I'm going to fly my fighters in that particular location. We saw an air unit at New Caledonia here, and it is a level bomber. It's a strategic bomber. Strategic, yep, strategic bomber, 42, set at naval, perfect. So I'm going to be a little bit aggressive and move them up to here. And set this bomber to bomb naval units. That one's set automatic full, and that one's set to automatic full. Okay. Now the interceptors won't react, but a bomber would. Got a sub located here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sub and I'm going to put it in raider mode, and I'm going to start trying to block the supply into Russell. Since this is a small island, the blockade that I'm creating here will stop any kind of supplies going into the Russell Islands and start weakening this by turn 3. Fiji Islands here. Looks like I could do the same there, and it looks like I got some PT boats here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, let's go back to my strategy here. So I want to set up my defensive line. So here's my defensive line. I've started this. I've got to be able to capture this to move the line up a little bit. So I'm going to try to go for it right away on turn 1. Considering that their full force is going to be coming. The reality is, in history, the Japanese would move down in between the islands here, similar to the Tokyo Express delivering supplies to their troops. So I'm expecting something like that. And there are carriers in the area, so I'm going to have to be very careful, because at 1942, the Japanese at this point in time air units are more superior than my carrier air units, so I'll suffer a damage. It might be equal blows, but more than likely I'll get the worst end of it. So I don't want to do a carrier battle right away. It looks like if I can wait a couple turns, I'm going to get the Hornet, which is actually very good. For a first build, what I want to be able to do is build an aircraft. That's what I want to be able to do. If I go down to 1940, I'll be able to, actually 41, I'll be able to get a ground attack right off the bat, and that's what exactly I'm going to do. I want to start building my air units right away, because I want my defensive line set up as soon as possible so I can start pushing back as soon as possible. Now let's take a look at the invasion force here. I've got a destroyer and a marine unit. There are my carriers with battleship, destroyer, marine, and marine unit. Okay, so zooming in now here, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna bring my troops in. So with the extended movement, I will not be able to invade on the first turn. Okay, so I'm gonna move in. My first movement in is I'm gonna keep a CA, and I'm gonna keep this in fleet mode, and I'm gonna move this to Henderson Field here and see whether or not this aircraft will react to my attack, or if it's going to be an element of surprise here. Remember, when you're really doing this, even though you're doing this one at a time, the fleets are really moving together here. And I've got no reaction at all, so that's really good. So I'm going to take this unit, and I'm going to bring it here. I'm going to take this unit, and I think, yeah, I'll bring the destroyer with it too, so this way I can do some bombardment and support when I go to invade. Let's just double check here. I make sure I only have one infantry unit here. It looks like I already have the 3rd Division here, so lucky I double checked. What I'm going to do is disable that and then move that guy here, so I have 2 destroyers there. And I'm going to take this unit and I'm going to move him here. Almost would have been better, I think, if I would have moved my battleship in this location just in case to provide support, but since the range is 5 units for a reaction, my unit being in fleet mode will have a radius of 5 to counteract any naval vessel that's going to try to go beside it. Now air is a different story here. I'm going to put my carriers in raider mode, and I'm going to place them right here. And the reason why I have them within the 5 hex radius, just in case they swing around, my battleships here should be able to react and protect it. I'm going to move a destroyer unit. I'm going to put that in raider mode here. And hopefully that didn't change my modes. No. And I'm going to take this cruiser and put it. So I've got an attacking fleet here, a strike fleet, or a strike task force, and I got my carrier task force just in behind there, just trying to do some support. Looks like I have the 2nd Marine Division that can go here. And I have one more division here. Which I guess could invade at this point, but that's almost overkill. Okay, but I'll do it. Okay, so I've set up for the invasion of Guadalcanal, and unfortunately I can't unload my troops at this point in time. Knowing that the Japanese might come down here, I want to be able to slow them down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 patrol groups and I'm going to place them also nearby, because I want them to be able to react to any fleet. The invasion at this point in time is more important than anything else. And it looks like I've set up for the invasion. And now things look good. And okay, so if I end up losing my carriers, it looks like a critical naval defeat can spell disaster for the whole campaign. So if I lose my carriers, it looks like I'm done. Okay, no ships are sunk. Got my priority. I think I'm ready to go. I've got my defensive line started. Let's see what happens. Oh, rain. Oh, looks like a fleet went down, and it looks like my boats already slowed them down. That's good. Looks like nothing much has happened. So if that's the case, I'm going to complete my invasion. It's unfortunate that this is double rain, because the whole point is to have my bomber to be able to attack, but unfortunately I cannot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my bombers support the air attack and interceptors just in case something were to happen. There's an air unit here that has done nothing so far. So I'm going to click on one of the units, hold down the shift key. I got 5-to-1 odds, and wow, it's destroyed right away. So that would mean I can take that right away. An enemy fleet left, so that's the coastal group there. 3-to-1 odds. Not great odds, but I'll give it a go. Now I've captured the airfield there at Henderson Field, which is good. And I've got control of the actual port and the airfield. So I can set up 2 air factors here right away, so that's good. So you can see here now that the defensive line here is starting to materialize as I want. Once I get some air units, wow, that was a bad zoom. Once I get some air units in place, what will end up happening is I kind of went a little wonky there. Once I get some air units in place here, I'll start being able to push up. So far, no problem, so that's good. I'll keep my naval units there. There's no point in attacking this guy unless I want to go with a surface attack. I don't know what it is, so let's open this up here, and I take a bunch of hits here, but so I've got nothing found there. So when I click on it, still no information. Is it a carrier group? Doesn't look like it's a carrier group. I don't know what it is. My aircraft won't be able to help, so I'm going to leave. This one here is in fleet mode, so it'll react. These ones here are also in fleet mode, so let's see what this unit does. See if it pulls back. I can't really do any air attacks because of the heavy rain. Since I'm in turn 2 here, I'm going to take a look at this. So what I want to be able to buy is some landing ships, because I'm going to need them in the future. I'd like to get a supply oiler too. And again, what I want to be able to do is make another aircraft right away. So I know that for the Air Force ground attack, I'm going to need 300 at least, so I'll be able to get the 300. I'll be just shy of the 42 one, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I can upgrade later. I just need the air units, and with a stockpile of 35 here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build supply trucks for the US, because the US will be able to use them. And let's move to turn 2. So far I haven't had any problems with any carriers, but I don't know what this fleet is here, and I can't investigate with the heavy rain. So I'm going to move to turn 2. And again, I'm going to take my time here. Okay, so now I have 2 fleets. And I've had some sort of reaction with my carriers. And it looks like I have some fleets that are low on fuel. Okay, my carrier looks okay. Let's get rid of this enemy action thing. So I've received no damage from my carriers, even though it kind of flickered a bit. Let's see what this is. 3 ships, 0 CVs, and 0 battleships. This is 6 ships in the area. This one I'm going to refuel because I want it out there. Both in heavy rain, both cannot be attacked by air. How convenient. Let's see if I can identify this. Okay, so there was an attack, so this could be identified. Nope, still nothing, but hold on, let's go here. Okay, so this is a light cruiser destroyer and two cruisers. So if I had to guess, okay, so this is low in supply. I'm gonna none are damaged, so they'll be able to refuel in that port. have a funny feeling this is the carrier group. So I'm going to sacrifice these guys. So I've lost one patrol group, thank you. And haven't found it. I still don't know what this is, so I'm going to take my attack fleet, my attack task force, and I'm going to move it here. This did not react, interesting. And that was a big battle. And I lost a lot. They've lost a light carrier. There's damage to their carrier, other carrier. I've lost a battleship, 2 destroyers, and a cruiser. But at least I sunk one of their light carriers, so that's good. I'm going to take my carriers here and put them in fleet mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes away. This carrier here did not react. I don't want to put it in between the islands, and I won't be able to attack. I'm going to leave him there for now. I'm going to keep him in fleet mode so he can react to the situation. So it looks like I've taken a little bit of damage here. Not bad. So when I'm looking at capital ships here, I've lost a battleship to their light carrier. Yes, that's an okay start, and I've damaged, it looks like I've damaged the Shukaku. And they've got 2 first line carriers there. So maybe they'll pull back now, we'll see. Low in supply. This guy's still low in supply. And capital ship. Okay, so I'm going to move forward here. Remembering too, I'm going to get my next carrier group. So it looks like there's been some naval movements here. You could also see here that Russell Island sub has reduced the factor there. So this low fleet has no supplies, so let's take a look here. Okay, so I've only got a cruiser left. This is 3 ships in the area, and they're now within range of my bomber. Yes. I don't think, would they be in range of my fighter? Yes. Okay, so on the next turn, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack here again with my aircraft. Looking at the situation as it stands right now, I'm almost ready to invade Russell Island and clear this unit out. You can see my sub has done its handiwork here with a 0-3. My goal is to actually strengthen this area here and then be able to push up. And I noticed this port's open here, so I might be able to move up very quickly depending on the situation. But that would be my opening move with this particular scenario here. And again, my strategy is to create a defensive line here of aircraft and slowly push this line up until I can isolate Raval, knowing full well that they come down in this particular area that's historical. So I'm going to try to keep my PT boats in this area to be able to slow them down and attack whenever possible. So that would be my opening move for this particular scenario. I'm going to end the video at this point in time. Thanks for watching, everybody, and take care and stay safe.